Hey, welcome to Vice Grip Garage. I'm your unreliable host, Derek, and this is my 1965 Chevrolet C10. We nicknamed this truck Lawsuit, and for those of you that have been watching the show for a long time, you remember this thing. I picked it up August of 2019, almost 6 years ago already, and I threw this thing together with literal scraps, bits, and pieces out of the barn and made a running truck out of it. But here's the thing, I actually only drove it one time to a car show, and it was not good. This thing is terrifyingly dangerous, hence the nickname Lawsuit. The trailing arms are rotted out of the thing. The rear end's about to fall out of the truck. All of the coil springs have been torched because, you know, lowering kit. The shocks are just along for the ride, and I just saw that the frame is now rotted in half, thus it's folding like a bad hand of poker. Great. I think it's about time we actually put a little bit of money and time into this thing. So we're gonna blow the entire suspension apart, put an actual lowering kit in it. Yeah, proper coil springs, proper shocks, tubular, you know, trailing arm things, all of that. Also, I have wheels and tires for this truck. We're gonna transform the look as well. It's gonna sit right, ride right, look right, and drive right. So, we've got a lot of work to do. Let's jump in. Quick little backstory on this truck if you're not familiar with it, and I'm actually kind of smiling going down memory lane here. I bought this truck dirt cheap, a few $100 I think. And the guy said, yeah, it should run. It's been sitting for eons. It's missing a radiator though, okay? And I said, no big deal. And he said, I got a parts truck there. You could take the radiator out of that, put it in this truck, and you could drive the thing home. So I get there and pop the hood, and this engine is stripped to nothing but the block. Bare bones, nothing at all. So I called the guy and I was like, it's missing a little bit more than a water boiler. And he's like, oh yeah, whoops, don't remember that. So anyway, I literally took another C10 and made this C10 out of it, did get it running, but I had to trailer the thing home. Ran out of time, it was pitch black, we didn't have brakes, a whole bunch of issues. And then eventually built it up from there. It's got Camaro seats in it, I made some homemade risers, I made a center console out of an old whiskey crate, made some cup holders, stuff like that, threw it together. But the underside is completely rotted out of this thing. But last year at Iola Car Show, I put an Offenhauser intake, split header system, and a Holley sniper kit on it. It fires immediately, runs fantastic. I got a couple things to button up with that, but it's getting to the point where if it runs this good, we should be able to, you know, put it down the road. And that's why we're moving on to this. I think we're gonna lift it up, start in the rear. We got trailing arms to put in this, coil springs, shocks, coil plates, and then probably address the frame. We gotta patch that, get the back down, then we'll move to the front. Also, I'm gonna take off these wheels and these old gigantic tires. They're like 33s, I think, or something. I'm not even sure, but they're dry rotted and cracked. And the back ones have wires flailing out of it. I put this up against the wall, I duct tape drags and did a burnout with it. And I don't know how they didn't pop, but they're on their last leg anyway. So this junk's gotta go. We're gonna put new junk on it. It's gonna look great. They're the cheapest, coolest wheels I could find. And you already know what tires I got, let's be honest. But let's get it up and get to work. We're gonna be wrenching really late tonight, try to get as much done as we can. So a lot of you have been asking about Cat Farm Crew Cab back here under the sheets. Yes, freshly painted, finally done after years and years of painstakingly building that truck a little bit at a time. You guys can see it in person. I'm gonna be C10s in the city, Atlanta, Georgia, May 3rd. It's supposed to be a really awesome truck show. Yeah, and I'm gonna be there with Kevin Tates. AMD booth's gonna be there, Vice Grip Garage booth is gonna be there, Jessica and the kids are gonna be there, we're gonna be selling merchandise, we're gonna have the Cat Farm Crew Cab and my OBS truck there. That's also been in surgery for a long time. Kevin's been working hard on finishing up the paint on that. So if you guys want to come out and hang out May 3rd, C10's in the city, Atlanta, Georgia. Should be a good time. Speaking of C10s, it's going to be nice being able to drive this one. You know, guys had it long enough, I guess. Probably should put a couple miles on it. Well, I think the blowed up air compressor is almost done making 13 PSI. I'm gonna get the back paws off the ground. I'm gonna bring you in and let you get a closer gander at how terribly sketchy this truck is. Boy, this air jack has been a lifesaver. Boop, boop. Ishta, oofta, arsh, oh, ooh, ouch. So, if you think the exterior of the truck's a little rough, it gets worse as you get underneath. I was just admiring this cab corner I put in a few years ago. You can't even tell. I mean, you really have to hit it in a light right to even notice that. But like if you get underneath and look at like the body mounts, you know, they're Wi-Fi on this side and they're blue teeth on the other. Basically I'm not even sure how this cab is held onto the frame. I think it just kind of floats. It's like an air ride for Peterbilts, but Chevrolet style. So underneath the rig, we've got a brand new carrier bearing in here. We'll add that to the list we won't fix. This is not good. That's not what your frame is supposed to be doing. Here. Not so much here. And you can tell from the weight of the truck, it's starting to actually bow and bend. So that's not good. So the trailing arms here, they are literally just trailing along. They are not doing much of anything at this juncture. This side I've already patched once. See? But if you look under the patch, oh, okay. So literally, wow, I forgot it was that bad. There is no that's just tape on the other side. It's gone. These are heated and collapsed. That's what gave us our lowered stance. Okay? Stancing. Looks like I ran some brake lines back in the day. I can't remember. These do nothing. They just bounce around and wobble betwixt here and up there, you know. Ran another brake line there. I bent this up with the forklift, so we're going to leave that because it's adjusted. The track is adjusted in. It's had wheel cylinders and stuff like that. The tires get a little low on wind. I can't for the life of me figure that out. That's how bad the shocks are. So here's our project. We got to yank all this junk out, snap every single bolt under here, figure out how to replace that, and put it all back together. Then the really fun part, oh look at that, fuel line clamp, nice. Move up front, coil springs, shocks, and upper and lower ball joints. See how the tire is all yanked out? Yeah, it needs some work there too. We got a lot of work to do. Well, this is not gonna be good, but it's the only option a guy's got left is the beard trimmer. Can't see nothing. Arms on fire. That's pretty neat. I think we're getting closer-ish. I don't know if that's what I'm doing here. Get the old Tanya Hardin out. Knee slam. I don't know, let's cut this side and then we'll reevaluate. Woo! Okay, that one let go. Kind of ish. Get out of there! Oh, I didn't think about that. It's got to come through the haymaker now. So that really didn't do me much of good, did it? I think I'm gonna need a torch anyway. It's gonna be all night farting around in just this. Wow. Have you seen something like this? It's really hot, like someone's been cutting on it. That is loose. I need some juice. Yeah. Well, guys, moving on here. It happened so fast, this bolt snapped out. Didn't even get to show you. Ended up in my teeth, if you're wondering. So now I got a jack jammed under the tire here. See, if you're looking over there. And what we're looking for here is some separation up here. See right here? Well, it would be a spring purge. It's a trailing arm purge, but if I jack this up right here, we should get some separation between the axle tube. That'll go up. And then we can try to get it out. Yep. Trace, Quattro, 7, 3. What's that look like? Yep. Well, what in the devil? I think a spring is stuck here. Yep. Yep. Hip. There we go. All right. This is shaped in such a manner we could slip it out. We just slip. Uh-oh. Is that nut welded into the retainer? We might be in trouble here. I don't know. We're probably going to have to deal with this later, but that's another 17 hours. Great. Anyway, this is stuck. Oh, e-brake cable. That's what that is. Bushings are shot. Seems fine. Let me get an 18/32 here. We'll blow this in half. It'll shatter and end up in my teeth probably. Yep, there it went. Right in my mouth. Okay, so now this should be falling down, but it's not. Why is that? Oh, the cable's still hooked up. Get the old Punch Later 7000, the old red marooner, Tanya Harding. What in the... It's moving, but not the bolt. I'm just making pieces of coal and iron. What is this? Part to a ship? I don't even know what that is. Same with that. Well, I'll keep going. This should... Ah! There she goes. Okay, well that's down now. Ah! Rear end right there. Anyway, that's the trailing arm. Sweet. So the bottom retainer is off. And there's a similar one, identical to this, way up in here. So, I'm not quite sure. I'll get a ranch dressing on the top, and I guess an extension. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it with the wrist ruiner, though. With the extension, you lose all of your torqueuses. So I'll see what we're gonna have to do here. This one might be long enough. What size was that? Do you remember? Oh yeah, I broke it off. Was it this one? No. Boy, it is allergy season. My eyes are just on fire. Let's see what happens here. That's what I was afraid of. So, this is going to get really interesting. I can cut this coil spring since we don't need it anymore, but that's not going to resolve the issue. Well, I need a torch. Torch everything. All right, I'm gonna have to run to town and get some gas, I think. Well, the guy's back. Had to get cylinders swapped out and farting around. I've hit that rear end 19 times. Okay, what's the plan here? Don't have one. Perfect. That needs to get cut. Got it. Let's do that. Gonna have to reset everything. Yeah. Resetage. Can't see nothing. These might be pretty tough to cut, actually. Got some blowback. Look out. I told you. I told you that was coming. You didn't want to listen. That's off. Boy, that was kind of dramatic. Heavier than I thought. Safety first. Safety. Ouch! Fire! Ow! I don't know why I'm in the Elvis mood. He is dead, by the way. Ow! Yep. Ah! Keep going. Up! Retina. It's in a cup. It's in a bad position. We're in a bad position here. Okay. I don't know what's happening at this juncture. We've melted everything under this truck except what we need to. Get out of there! Moses sandals! Well, that was easy. Pretty easy. Well, I had to fight the bolt up in here because it got sheared off, obviously, when I cut it. But anyway, I came in here and just glazed her with the old lava torch, and that didn't compromise anything. That's slag from the actual, bolt itself. And then I used a punch. Where did it go? Here it is. And just drove that out. So this side is pretty good to go. I think I'm gonna get the shock out of the way and kind of just delete on everything. We'll come up here. We've got to get this big bolt out of the way. I've soaked this a few times, but it is stuck. And without removing the drive line, I can't get a wrist ruiner on it, which really hasn't been doing much for us anyway, let's be honest. So not quite sure what I'm gonna do here yet. I might have to cut this, torch it, not sure. So now we got this big boy up here, and I've soaked them, but it is really tight. I'm about to flip the truck upside down, trying to get that off. Might have to get creative here. Speaking of which, I'm gonna try something I don't think I've ever tried. So obviously a guy is a big fan of putting the heat to stuff, heating it. But some of y'all have mentioned freezing stuff loose. I don't think I've ever really tried it. When I was getting gas for the torch, this was on the shelf there. Loctite 8040. Fast acting corrosion release. It says it loosens by shock freezing to -38. Never tried it until right now. And I guess it's got a lube in there too or something. Supposed to do it 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, then what do you do? Do you go right away? I'm gonna say that did not work. That did not work. I just spun the clock back a couple hours though. Okay, let me get another wrench. We can make a cheater pipe or something. This is where this is gonna slip. And then of course, we just have to shut everything down. How? Wrench is bending. That is unnecessary lawsuit. Well, let's go back to trying heat, I guess. What else is a guy gonna do? Even if I get this nut off, I don't know how I can bang this bolt out unless I drop the whole drive shaft. Or maybe that's the ticket. All right, we've frozen it off. Now we've melted it. That's all it needed. Heat. Boy, it's still crunchy. Oh, now it's spinning. Great! Grand! Well, that means I need another 1 1/8 wrench. Do I even have that? I don't know. Well, let's look. Well, I've been farting around on this far too long. Almost knocked my teethuses out. Trying to get something to hold on the other side and vice grip this and spin that. So I think we're gonna go right back to just cutting everything and try not to put holes in my good shirt. I need to do one side at a time so we don't have to fight putting the rear back up. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to repeat this whole process again. Okay. Is this like a Ford? You got to take the cab off to work on it? For heaven's sakes. Get stuck in that bush. I need you to get out of there. Why don't you just leave? Ha-ha! I think we're making way. everything's so hot under here? What is going on? Ugh. There we go. And that easy, you can remove your trailing arm. Simple. Wow, this is in tough shape. Yikes. Yeah, these were not doing much at all. So we're going to be changing the style a little bit of this unit here. We're going to be using these. Tubular design, and it already has the bushing pressed in. I think they're poly. CPP makes these, and these were actually like $10 cheaper than a Dynacorn Repop one. And the advantages are obvious. They look better, they're going to perform better, and it doesn't have the design where it's going to scoop all that dirt and mud and stuff in there and eventually rust and rot away. So we got to throw these bad boys in. Nice provision there for the spring, and I got new U-bolts as well. So before we slide that new guy in here, I guess what the plan here is, get one side in, get it reconnected to the axle at least, then we can come over and take the other side off, so we're not fighting the axle forward, back, side to side, all that. But before we bolt that up, I want to clean up the mating surfaces. I need to drop the shock all the way. Keep grinding my nose into it. Clean this out, get that pretty decent. I'm gonna keep avoiding this, I think, right now. Okay. Ba-da-ba-bow. Hello, is it me looking for? Cheek poker. Found it. Okay. Oh, yeah, you want to breathe this in. There we go. I never got batteries. Okay, let's try this one. Let's just try the whole machine. There we go. Wait, that one's got a death wheel on it. What about this machine? There we go. Put this one over here. Yeah. That one I'm gonna need. Oh yeah, only got one good battery, so that goes back into here now. I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect. We're just trying to prevent. Oh hey, I got really big, awesome news. Like this just in stuff. Come over here. Let's face it, I use a lot of rattle cans around here. Rattle can rebuilding is what a guy does, but I got tired of paying like $13 to $17 a can, depending on where you're picking it up and everything else. So I decided to do something about it. And I am excited to tell you, it is official. Vice Grip Garage Rebuild Black is out. You can grab it right now at vicegripgarage.com. I have put this through the most brutal real-life testing for a long time. You guys have seen me use it for a long time. It's made right here in America, resists heat up to 400 degrees. It's a satin black enamel, and it is absolutely perfect for, well, everything you've seen me paint forever. Intakes, blocks, firewalls, chassis parts, suspension parts, axles. Yes, all of that. It goes on nice, it resists chipping and fading and wrinkling and all of that stuff. And it says right on the can, restore, revive, renew, renew, renew. Basically everything you spray it on is brand new, just rebuilt like that. Now, price-wise, obviously shipping, I get nailed there. Well, we do, right? There's not a lot I could do about that. It's paint. But I can help you on the price. I can get this to you a single can for $11.98, right around there, cheaper than the big stores. And if you get the 6-pack, you get an even better deal in 2 ways to look at it. You get 1 can completely free when you get the 6-pack, or essentially you save the shipping, right? So you get 6 cans cheaper. Obviously, it's all I'm going to use around here. We'll use it right now. I will say, if you're interested in trying this stuff, I would not procrastinate, because we have to mix all this in big vats, can it, and everything like that. So when we're out, I don't know how quickly I can get it back. Yeah, rebuilding. Brand new. New brackets. TIG welding. Fixing where I torch too much. Oh yeah, look at that. Rebuild this carrier bearing while I'm in here. This side of that. New axle seals. New brake line. There we go. And it does have the nozzle. I put it out a few times on the interweb socials and talked about it in the comments. You guys decided to go with the old school white top, not the blue flipper or the big button one. So thank you guys. That's your input on that. Again, vicescriptgarage.com. Hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, let's let this dry. I'm gonna go find the U-bolts and the shock and all that stuff, get everything staged to go in. Okay, so that's dry. Now we can run this new one in. I got some silicone lubricant. Got a little drink. Oh wow, that's a lot lighter. Try it now. There we go. And new bolt in, lock washer and nut. I'm going to leave it a little loose because I want to get this U-bolt in first. You know what I mean? Wow, this looks weird, having new shiny stuff in here. You know, I do wonder what Ellen Jackson is doing right now. Wow, they like the length on these. Holy smokes. I don't think I got a socket that long. Much better. I probably should have bolted the spring up first. So I was just seeing if this fit, you know. Let's put the coil spring in because I can hit it with the wrist ruiner when this is down. I'll show you what I mean. So here I can brand new frame, boxing frame in. Oh, new rear brake line. Nice. Well, never seen anything like this before. Help me understand this. These are somehow so wound together. It's like a dang old Japanese mind puzzle. How do I get them apart? They came together in one box. Those are fine. But I have spent all of 7 months trying to get these apart, and I can't figure it out. Cool. Boy, what a fiasco that was. Somehow in shipping they just got intertwined. I had to snip the edge of one of these, but I ripped all of the coating off of these. Anyway, we'll throw this up, and then when we get to the other side, we'll do a comparison before I cut that one of the lowered coil versus the smooshed, heated coil that I did whenever that was, 5-6 years ago. So I got new spring hardware here, retainers. So this goes up here. The pass-through one goes on the top. And then the one with the welded nut on it goes through the bottom there. But I want to get this in quick because I can hit this with the ratchet. There we go. With the trailing arm out of the way, allegedly. If I can get my hands to work, get my hands to do hand things. There we go. What is this one? Doesn't look like it really matters. Orientationals of them, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Nice. Okay. I guess I could just rebuild it. Brand new lowering coil spring. This is a, what is this, a 3.5 drop, I think is what this ends up being. Now, set that in there. And we can go back to this. Well, what changed? There we go. Just had to throw it around a little bit. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I might have to run these up far as I can and then whack them off with the lava stick. There. Kind of starting to look like a truck again. Believe it and or don't. Okay. That's coming along just fine and dandy. What size are those now? What size are you? Okay. This is going to be weird to see, but I actually pulled out an impact socket to use with the impact. I know. It's the only one that'll fit, okay? Yeah, see, I'm gonna have to cut those because I can't, you know. And now, I think we need to run this through here into that. Where does that want to live? Where are you living? Pulling the bottom coil spring plate into place. Nice. Okay. E-breaker-rooney cable. Looking pretty good. Yeah. All right, we got to whack these bolts off so I can get the socket on there and tighten the darn things. I'll just put that down there. Feels pretty cool to be working on this truck again so many years later. It's like adding Loctite anyway. That nut ain't gonna fall off of this. Okay. Now, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, now I just got to tighten this up here, and this side is done. That ain't going nowhere. So minus shocks, we've got a pretty good comparison now of the stock setup over here and then this setup over here. Look at the spring difference. And I can show you that now. Close-ish, but we are going to get a little bit more of a drop with this spring instead of, you know, these were just heated up and worn out. Look at that shock even. Well, basically just a solid rinse and repeat over here on the captain's side, but I'm gonna wait to do the shocks till last because you've been yelling at me that I forgot to put the lower shock mount bracketry on. I did, I was standing on it the whole time, kicking it around. Still failed to realize until I torched the U-bolt off and really jacked the threads up. Seems fine. It's the way she goes sometimes. So I'm going to take care of that really quick. We'll come over on this side, do the whole thing, and then the last thing we'll do is pop some new shockulators back up in there. Okay, guys, got this side stripped down. We put a new trailing arm perch on here and a new mount up here. And I decided to sidebar it because I have to address this frame. Big old bottom chunk was rotted out of it here. I need to get at least something in the bottom. So I made a template here. Apparently it's a full synthetic, whatever that is. And something like this doesn't need to be pretty. Boop! We're gonna go cut this out, and then we'll booger weld this in really quick while I have all the room without that trailing arm in here. And then I got to decide if I want to plate the outside as well, something like that. I don't know, we'll see. See if we can get this welded in here. It's not going to be perfect by any means, but it's better than the big hole. My ground is terrible, so rusty. Yeah. Got around 700 bucks each car. Just 8 feet away. 700 foot extension cord. Can you please be in my way? Extend your core. Need a whole bunch more wire speed. This is going to be delicate welding. It is, it is. And it's undoubtedly going to look terrible. So that's good. Been a while since we welded rusty frames together. Feels right. What? Turn the 4-step off, go to 2-step. Goodness gracious. Come on. Come on now! Just fill in big old gaps with butter sticks. Oh, I can't reach. Oh, this is not goodly. Not goodly. Do 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 do, Jerry Rice's bathhouse. Try not to burn through the frame. Do 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 do. Sure. Yeah. Well, it ain't perfect, but it's better than I thought it would come out. Nice big heavy plate on there. I'm gonna go ahead and wait. Maybe do that down the road. There's a little spot right here, but I think I'd either have to cut a big chunk out or like box this whole thing in. And just not in the mood to do that at this juncture. Let's keep going on the suspension though. Frame, way better than it was. Rebuilding, bowl, tube, chassis, stuff, expensive. frame parts, things. Boom. Now we can get on to getting this other side dialed in. We'll start with the trailing arm. Same thing we did last time, basically. We'll hook the front, and then we'll swing the back in and get the coil on and everything like that, and then we'll do the shock slash. Well, now maybe we got a proceeds figured out here. We can knock this out quick. Remember, we haven't even talked about the front ender yet. And the front ender is more workerish than the back ender. Because I think, I'm not gonna commit to it, but we're probably gonna have to put ball joints in it and pretend to look at the brakes, stuff like that. Shocks and proper coil springs again. But that's gonna be quite the job. I'd like to get this finished up tonight at least so I can pretend I did something. There we go. Come on now. Whoop. Spraying silicone all over the tire. Whoops! How wasteful. There we go. I do feel a lot better about that frame though. Whew. Okay. This time, don't forget the bracket. Silly. Okay. Okay. This already feels like it's going way faster for some reason. And there we go. Oh, because we didn't put the coil spring in. See? Getting forgetful. I'm looking right at it too. I don't know that you have to do it this way, but it just seems like it's easier to get the wrist runer up there. Stuff and stuff. Where's the... There it is. Mm-hmm. Looking good. Looking real good. Wait, hear this? It's like I'm walking on a gravel road under here. For Pete's sake. Okay. Did we accomplish what we needed to? Yes. Back to this again. I could see how the rear of these trucks, you know, they're really easy to put bags in. You just separate these instead of a coil spring, boop, bag, done. Pretty forward the straights. Hey, socket, come here. Big socket. Big socket. Where'd you go? Oh, it's on the machine. Do I have I do have two impacts under here, no wonder. I think that one's Bentley's. I was wondering why everything was getting confusing. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. What's going on here? I gotta. Oh. That's what I thought. handle got loose on me. Had a leak. Still must be a little leak. That's what that snapping is. The old lava wand. Great tool to have. There we go. And then we got to fix all these scratches. Oh, I should have waited till I put the bottom part on. Rebuilding. Okay, now we need to jack up that tire, put the bottom bolt in. Okay, I got stuff everywhere. Oh, I was supposed to jack it up. I stretch it. Yeah, right. Oh. How about now? Nope. How about now? Yeah, that'll work. Go. That should pull it together, right? What we're going to say anyway. Oh, yeah. I'm going to put some 373s in here. Boop. Done. Can we check that oil? No, you're right. That would be silly. Okay, shockalizers. What do we got? I don't know. So find out. So this was kind of a kit. It came with the shocks and the springs. It's interesting that the rears are Beltex, which I think that's a really good brand. I put a Beltec drop kit on a Cat Eye like 20 years ago. I think it was a full Beltec. Anyway, the fronts are no brand name, but they seem to be doing shock things, which is considerably better than what's in there. So these would be our rear guys. I got some hardware. Don't think I'll need that. Let's get these knocked in. The old hardware was terrible, so we'll slip some 1/2" 20 with some hex lock nuts on here. There we go. Where's the other one? I don't know. Oh, over here. That one's close. I like to keep the band around them until I get them bolted, but I don't have to fight it the whole time. There. Then you can break the wrist, walk away. Tanya Harding. Well, it is starting to look halfway safe-ish back here. Don't tell anybody. Is this the right? Wow. Wouldn't you know? Got some croissant wrench on here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, by golly, I think we're done. Well, on the back, anyway. Well, the guy's been pushing a broom around, cleaning my mess up, cleaning my tools up. Boy, things just exploded back here. You got a nice angle on her there. Let's lower this back down and see what it looks like now with real lowering springs, trailing arms, shocks. What do you think? It should be close-ish, but a little lower, I think. Oh yeah, that's lower. Yeah, the rake is gone now, right? It used to be kind of, you know? Wow, that looks good. And that should settle too. Obviously, once the springs get, oh, it has real suspension? Wow. Oh, that does look good. Well, I think I'm going to call it for tonight. It is late. Going to go spend some time with the family, and we'll be back in the morning. We got to tear apart that front end. It's going to be a mess. And then last, we'll put tires and wheels on. Hope you guys like the wheels. I don't know. I don't know this time. You're going to have to tell me. See you in the morning. Oh, that's neat. Well, good morning. Back on lawsuit here. 65, maybe 64 C10. I don't know. I don't know. 65, we'll say, because of the badge. Anyway, I digress. We're putting suspension on this thing. We got the rear end done. It's looking good. It did settle a little bit more overnight. Now we got to work on the front. Hopefully a little bit less grinding, cutting, things of that nature. Have to decide if we're going to tackle ball joints or if it even needs it, but let's be honest, the truck needs everything. So let me get the air jack up. We'll get the tires off of this thing. Let's inspect it. I've legitimately never even looked at the front of this truck other than heating the coil springs that are in it, and that's how we got the dropped stance, but it handles terribly bad. I probably never showed you what happens to coil springs when you heat them. They really get deformed and things of this nature. Spring rate pressure changes, the rebound changes, it changes everything. Yes, you can lower a vehicle with it. You've watched me do it 174 times. But it's not going to handle very goodly, and it's a little bit dangerous. I'm just saying. All right, let's get to work. We got a lot of stuff to do. We do, and did. Well, we got headers so low here, they're about to come out in Australia, but we'll work around them. Not really catching the frame as much as a guy would like to see. Risk it. Wow, that wheel bearing must be good. Ha! I don't think I've ever seen that before. That or there's no brake equipment in there. I'm gonna go with that. Also, the coil spring, I think, just fell out of the cup. I was just talking about that, so let's go in there and check that out. Yeah, see how deformed that is? Yeah, not the best. Oh, must have been a little lower on the passenger side. Well, I never even put brake lines in the front. Wow. Ooh, look at the cotter key. Pretty sure that's like a bread tie. Maybe we should fit now. That seems to be working just fine. Oh, I did put a new one over here and a wheel cylinder. And ball joint doesn't look the greatest. Can't even see that one. That one's hammered. All right, well, that's what we got. I do need to fix this really quick. This is the lock for my lift. Comes across here over to the handle, and that goes to these things, which make it absolutely impossible for this lift to fall once they're locked. Even if you, for whatever reason, lost hydraulic pressure, this would catch the first, and shut her down. Well, I stepped on this one and really cranked her. So I'm gonna get this replaced real quick. I called them, said, hey, I stepped on the rod. Do you got one of these in stock? Help a guy out. And after they made fun of my big feet for a couple minutes, they seemed to be laughing quite a bit. I said, yeah, we got one. We'll throw it in the mail for you. So that just showed up right as I had this in my teeth. So let's get it on. There we go. Much better. I'll try to avoid that one with the old ski this time. All right. Oh, do I need an extension? I think I do. These are big old 31s, I think. Yeah, 31 10.5s. Pretty wild when you think the truck is lowered. Speaking of lowering, why don't we bring this down to working height? That seems a little better on the old Bacchuses. Going for the three-pointer. Whoa, 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 whoa. Settle down. Okay. I had to have put bearings in that. There's no way. Okay. Where do we want to start? Everything is crunchy and full of oil. Well, I guess the guy's gonna come in here, yank this shock out, and you can see it used to be blue at some point in time. We have a little bit of frame up here, but we do have blue teeth cab mounts. Don't worry about that, okay? Frame, focus. All right, so now, after the shock, we'll, since these are pretty well shot anyway, we'll probably just use a pickle fork. You can also whack them on the side with a bigger Tanya Harding, like a 200. Get the ball joints separated. Then we can pull the spindle out of the way, drop the spring out, and then we're gonna take the control arm completely off because the bottoms, I believe, yes sir, those are press-in bottom ball joints and they are a bear. I do have a tool I got off of the Temus or the Alibabas or something like that. Cheap super sale. Might help us force that out instead of, because I don't have a press. So we're going to try to do that a little bit differently. So if you don't have a big bottle jack press, I'll try to show you a different way to do that. It's just a lot of choice words, swearing, rust, and fun. Get this all disassembled. Just a quick update, chock's out, upper ball joint is separated. A little bit different here because we don't have spring tension forcing the two control arms apart. Normally you could just run the nut off, whack that with a hammer, and the spring will, boom, pop that open. You just leave the nut on. Couldn't do that in this case since we're replacing it. Just use an old school separator. and that worked up there. However, the bottom is being really stubborn and I can't get a good swing on it. I'm hitting my post here. I'm gonna try a lower ball joint separator tool, see if that works. Well, I think normally this would slide in and then this top would go on to the ball joint or the nut, and then you just put an impact on that and it whoop. But it doesn't fit in here because of the crazy configuration. So I'm gonna get the torch out, heat this up a little bit, and keep on whacking on this thing, see if I can get those to separate. And I might also just cut this while I have the torch out and I can just pull that out. Kind of swinging at it awkwardly and backwards here. Let's see what happens. Wow. Really? Jeez. This is a, how many pounds is this bad boy? I don't know, it's up there. Gonna break the windshield out. Okay, we will try heat. If I hit it. This is right where I thought we'd be. Well, the lower ball joint looks in great shape. Maybe we just leave that in there. How I might have to take the tie rod off to get my ball joint remover 7000 closer. I think that's the only step I've got left. Running out of ops. Running out of them. Everything's 7,000 degrees now. Oh, I hope this is stuck on there too. I hope. Yep, you dumped her now. You dumped her now. Okay. I gotta run to the store and get some more hand towels. We're gonna have to crack open this hub so I can get to the bolts that hold the bracket to the tie rod in. So I gotta back those out so I could slip that up, and this is all just in case I might be able to get that tool in there because the lower ball joint is stuck. Oh, there is brake hardware in there. Oh wow, I put all new brakes in it. I'll be I don't know why I did that. Probably the only thing I did. New brake hardware. So what size are those? 13/16? They are. Okay. There we go. Hey now, hey now. It's something, something. Get on out of the way. There we go. Now can I fit my little Magic Tool 7000 in here? I don't know. I don't know yet. This is that guy. Well, I think it went in. Okay. What size is this now? Not that size. I think that's going to be metric. It's probably a 27. Ouch. There it went. Wow. We would have never got that with the old tip of fork. But now thankfully I've really bent up my castle nut. Yeah, now it's turning the whole thing. Good. That's pretty good. I wonder, I'm not going to be able to bend that back. You're supposed to use the stud, not the castle nut. Got excited. But now I am into a pickle. Aren't I? I am. Can't be tight if it's liquid. Alright, well that's off now. Okay. Yeah, I gave that a hurl too, so that came plopping out. And I kept the top nut on so we could do this. I'll probably let that hang there. Well, no, because I'm going to torch these off as well to get the top out. There's nuts underneath. I don't want to mess with that. Actually, no, these are the original. Wow, those are the original ones, so they're just hammered in there. We'll have to hang this off to the side because I don't want to ruin this brake line. And then we can get this lower control arm off, which is here and there, and that should be equally fun. And we'll have this whole side stripped down to nothing, essentially. It's pretty good. There we go. Hang in there, little buddy. Let's get this knocked out of here. Yeah, it's never been replaced. It doesn't have the nuts on the back side. Yeah, bad day for my allergies. Well, some fire and an air chisel. Got the rivets out of this, and that moves nicely. I'm not worried about that. We just need to grease it up, clean it a little bit more. We'll wait to reinstall the upper ball joint. This bottom is going to be the big project here. So there's two nuts back up here that hold that U-bolt into place, and the same over here. And I just got to kind of clean all this up, mostly the top side where the nuts are, so I can get a wrench on them. Try to get those loosened up and off, and then we could get this in the vise or something. I haven't figured. Run it over with the skid steer or something to hold it down, because we have to press this out of the lower control arm. So this is part 2 of a 2-piece kit I got off of the Temus. It's like $92 shipped, and this is a presser putter inner kit. No idea if this is correct, but I got a cup adapter, a cup on the bottom, a little, I think this might help stabilize it from this kicking out. There should probably be another piece in here, but I torched this. What the thought is, if I hit this with an impact, it's going to drive the stem down and press the ball joint into the open cup, which is larger. I don't know. We'll try it. All right. Great. Did not work. Exploded the ball joint and just blued the center clean out of it. Let me set it up again, a different press configuration, and see if we can get that out now. The last cup I used was too wide, but now this is flat on the top and it should press this through, I think. I've stared at it long enough. You know what they say, you get the right tools for the job, it takes longer. Well, definitely press. Wonder if I can hammer that now, or do I gotta flip this around? There we go. Okay, flip it around. I don't know what I'm doing here, just making it up as we go. Adapter, that goes in there. I can go in there. There we go. I'll be dipped. There's the bottom of that ball joint. Normally I'm at a friend's house stacking pieces of wood, doing some super sketchy stuff with football helmets on and a 42-ton press. That seemed to work pretty good. Still haven't cleaned the bench up from the last project. While this is dangling here, Mazel hit her with the cheek poker, clean it up a tickle. Hit it with this paint scraper. There we go. Oh, yeah. Looking good. Or at least slightly better. No, not really. What a mess. Okay, I got this pretty well cleaned up. Ignore all the grease and oil and everything, you know. There. Rebuilding. Fix it, building it. Full tubular. Fancy suspension words. Rebuilding. That'll look better. Slow the rust down anyway. Boop, boop. We'll get the bottom side when we get her hung up in the truck. Let this dry for a minute, and I'm going to go start scraping the upper control arm. Now we got to just start putting everything back together. Put a light coat on over there. While that's drying, I'm going to get in here and pick away on this stuff. Not trying to make it fancy. This ain't going to Pebble Beach, but why not? What an opportunity to get in here and see how bad everything is and then do nothing about it. You know what I mean? And then we'll just completely rebuild it really quick and jam it together. Gotta get the cheek poker. Little bit of rust for lunch. Side of axle bearing grease. Oh, easy, easy. Enough. Decided to get in here before I switch over, so this starts drying. So we'll kind of have disassembly and reassembly going on at the same time, essentially. Trying to kick her in overdrive. I got a big storm coming again tonight. I got a bunch of stuff I got to move. Things out of gas, stuff with dead batteries. So I got to get moving in here. Got a lot to do this evening. You probably already hear the wind really creaking on the pole barn here. This is just an old, the posts are made out of stacked 2x6s. They're not even 4x4 posts or 6x6s or anything like that. There we go. Yeah, Chip Foos keeps calling asking for help, but I just got too much going on in this frame off shop. Well, that is drying, so like I said, I'm going to come over here and it's basically rinse and repeat. Got to pull outside wheel bearing, get the drum off, pull the 2 bolts that hold the arm for the tie rod over here, separate the upper ball joint, probably use that tool again. For the bottom ball joint, cut. Ooh, this spring is busted. See right there? That's another thing, is you can lose the integrity of your coil springs if you heat them. There's a great example. Pretend we didn't see that. 10-4, moving on. Take the shock out of it, clean everything up, get the lower control arm off. Same thing with the press over there. And now I know I have to heat the bejeebas out of it to get that Rinky machine, which is now already now stripping, press it back in. It must be only a remover, maybe not so much intended for a presser inner. One of these days I'll grow up and get a bottle jack press, but we're doing okay without it for now. This side has no rust compared to the other one, which is really good. That's a Wi-Fi cab support. Just hanging in there. Oh, 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 fixed. There we go. Okay, picking up twigs, a little bit of everything. Well, that's a familiar sight. This side stripped and ripped, started cleaning a little bit, but boy, do we got a mess. I had to finally run the cat chaser around. And we got hay and barley and oats, and there's like chicken bones in here. There's all sorts of stuff falling out of the cross member and frame and floor, and just been pretty wild. This side should be dry. Probably, I guess it would be wise to clean this side up, spray it down, because I'm going to start with assembly again on the drinker side. And then while this is drying, we could be, assembling. Well, the guys got just a little bit of time left before the storm hits. Want to try to get some of this front end put back together. And then I got to get out and start covering things, moving things, bringing vehicles in, so on and so forth. I got 3 kids. That's what it sounds like. Okay, now My Chevrolet eyeball tells me right there is where this needs to go. And when I take this for an alignment, the guy's going to be like, how in the devil? Come on, I just lubed these. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Never seen such an operation. I guess you just got to line them up correctly. Right there. After I get this on, we'll move on to putting the upper ball joint in. Then we'll get the spindle put back into place. And coil spraying, etc., etc. Yeah. Okay. How's that look from your house? Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's quit dilly-daddling. Oh, wait, I gotta rebuild the rest of that really quick. Where'd my can go? There we go. All right, so the new upper ball joint is a bolt-in unit. That's because it has bolts, set of rivets, and then we'll just throw that in. I'm going to put the nuts on the top because I'm going to come back and trim those with the Take a Risk 5000 here in a minute. After I get this snugged up, and we'll put the grease zerk on it, and it did come with a cotter key and should have a castle nut somewhere. Have not located that yet. Oh, there it is over here. Well, for heaven's sake, she's taunting. Well, someone finally caught me. I can't say taunt anymore. I gotta say taunt. This one got a little scored up by the torch, but just means I gotta thread it in there. It's even better. Look at that. Holds itself in. We might have unlocked a secret code. Oh, I don't know what size that is. I'm gonna guess 1/2 inch. Get off of there! I think that's pretty good. That might become righty-loosey if I don't settle down on that one. Put that in before we lose it. It's even smaller than that. There we go. Death wheelage will be good. Cha-boom! Nice. Very nice. So that's in, dolled up. Now we got to move on to the spring. These are fairly easy. GM makes this super simple. You don't have to use 74 vice grips and an old Massey Ferguson and Bobcat and a bunch of 4x4 posts and 2 buildings and a dump truck to get your springs out of the front end, like, you know, like a Ford or something like that. They just fall out. You could do it with the jack, even A-body, stuff like that, and then they go back in just by simply clocking the spring to the pocket. Up here, all you have to do is just make sure it goes around this on the top, which sits right in this provision. There's really no way to screw that up. You'll feel it kind of pop in. The only challenge is you have to get a jack under this and just walk the front into the stem here, the upper ball joint, to get a nut on that. So that's the next process, essentially, is I'm going to get a floor jack in here that's broken and it won't lower the entire way, and try to fight that back and forth, and we'll pop this up into this cup. This is not anything to do with first step, is just get the coil spring in, and then we're gonna boop, put that on. All right, all right, all right. We got a hobo junk jack under here, which depending on the day, either it doesn't lower all the way or it doesn't raise correctly, or it might just not release. But I seem to have it cooperating at the second. So what I'm going to do is lift this, align it there-ish. We know we can't go lower than this. So I'll get my 100-pound jack in here. Bam! Now, someday I'll make y'all a jack that actually works. Okay. Castle nut. A little bit of pressure. It's not going to take a lot. Top castle nut. Screw that all the way down. That's it. Break the wrist, walk away. Boom. Now I just gotta snug this up, obviously. Run a cotter pin through it, same with the bottom here. And once that is done, I'll hook up the Doodabber Heimer-Smith 42 into the, with the, over here. And then we got to start talking about shocks, grease. We got to grease these. I got to put a Zerk in this still. And boy, we're getting close on the drinker side over here. Best side. Well, this side is complete. We've got a 3-inch front coil spring drop now. New upper ball joint, new lower ball joint, and new, we don't know what brand shock that is. Old hardware, but I hit her with the rebuild. I hit all of this with the rebuild now. So it's all brand new. Disc brakes, tubular control arms, you know, all that stuff. We're going pretty big with this thing. But unfortunately, that's going to have to do it for today. We are under yet again another tornado warning. First and foremost, I got to get my family safe and figure all that out. I'm going to clean up really quick, try to get one car onto this lift, and we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully everything will still be here. And we'll finish up the other side. We've got tires, we've got wheels, we've got to get this thing outside and look at the final new look. Actual suspension with new tires and wheels. I'm pretty excited. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, good morning. We've almost made it out unscathed. It could be a lot worse. We have shop flooding again, unfortunately, and it rained so hard it actually tore a couple screws out of the gutter, and the gutter collapsed. So instead of the water going through our drainage system, it poured right off the back and came right in the shop. Pulled a bunch of mud with it, pushed a bunch of dirt and debris around, and we've got boxes everywhere wet. And we'll get back on lawsuit here, but I've got probably 2-3 hours of just pushing water and mopping, where I'm not tracking everything around, but it could be a lot worse. We're all safe. Tornado south of us and northeast of us, and prayers to those affected by the weather. Boy, they're nothing to mess with, and I can't even imagine. Not only is everything gone, but there's just trash and debris everywhere, and it's incredibly hard to rebuild. So I'm thankful this morning. I'm gonna drink some coffee, push some water, and then as soon as I get it somewhat cleaned up, we'll be back on lawsuit. If you look up there, you can see the daylight. That's part of the gutter that came down, so I fixed it. We got more rain coming this afternoon. That ought to hold her in place. At least for now. Try to keep this flooding down. Oh, it's doing the same thing. Down there. Gotta call my gutter guys out. Well, half a day later, we are back. Got the mess cleaned up here. Goodness. You know, some of you might be thinking, well, water, that's not such a big deal, but whew, man, you know, I'll challenge you. Run a garden hose in your shed overnight and get back to me. Boy, does it make a mess of anything. And remember, it is just me here. Actually, big thank you to my son, Bailey. He came out and pushed water and mopped for me and helped me load some stuff around, and that helped. But it's just me, guys. That is it. There's no co-host or co-hosts plural. There's no one holding a camera. There's no mechanics around here. It's just me. And this is as real life as it gets. So get some water in the shop. That put us back a full half day, more than a half day. It's now 3 o'clock. So I'm gonna see if I can blast this thing together and at least get it on all 4 paws. We still got to mount tires, balance them, put the wheels on, do all of that stuff. And I also remembered we don't have a throttle cable in this. We were jamming this together at the Iola show. I'd like to try to get that done too. So let's get the wrenches twirling. Guy actually remembered to plug a trouble in last night, which is pretty remarkable. Okay, so bottom control arm, we got to get this in. First step for anything. Actually, I got a different angle here. So let's rebuild this really quick. Really good opportunity to get up in here. There we go. Okay, so let's see. We can get one on to hang. Come on now. Where is you? Boy, I just need to put some real lubricant on this instead of this dang freeze it off stuff. Okay. Oh, look at that. Weird. Okay. So now, let's do the same on this side. Let me pre-juice these. I got it in my hand. This O2 sensor is not in a good position. But of course I was planning on having exhaust on it by now, and that didn't happen. Weird. It's almost like I travel 752,000 weeks a year. Well, what is this now? Some sort of tomfoolery with the socketry. Well, it can't be that one because it's not a 1/2-inch drive. I just can't believe this. Well, it's not home. It's out here somewhere. All right. Oh, I better slow down here. We're going to have a Mustang 2 front end installed. Well, you know the deal. Upper ball joint, and then we will get the spindle on the bottom, slide the spring in, pull it up together, loosely tighten the top ball joint, snug both those, cotter keys, get that in, get the steering component in, put the brake stuff back on. I'm going to clean this up a little bit on this side. Oh wow, that's a massive lip. That needs a drum severely bad, so we're going to not put one of those on. And then we're getting really close to tires and wheels. Well, the front end is done. We put a little bit of work into this thing, gotta be honest. So just to recap, we put the tubular trailing arms in here. We got rear coil springs, the rear Beltec shocks, cleaned all that stuff up, painted everything. Then up front here, some random, no brand name shocks went up here. We got upper ball joints, lower ball joints, and the lowering springs as well. Looked at the bearings, added a little bit of grease, painted everything up. Tie rods look fine. I actually even greased the whole front end and everything, I know. Weird. Now we just got to put tires and wheels on this thing so we can get it back down on the paws. And I think you might like these. Let's go on the other side. I got one hanging off there. So I kind of liked this look. It's just an old wagon wheel with like a rally ring just snapped onto it. Wasn't meant to go on the wheel, but let's face it, this is how everyone kind of sees this truck when they think lawsuit. It's kind of like a good mustache. You don't want to mess with it too much. So even though we got new wheels, I like the look. The shiny outside, the black inside. Check this out. Bam! Yeah, these are like the old school circular, I don't know what they are called, outlaw wheels. Everyone had these when I was in high school, but chrome. But these were black with the polished chrome outside. I think they're 15s. Yep, by 8. Sure. They were the cheapest ones in this bolt pattern that had the similar look. Sweet. And of course, you know what tire. We got us a Cooper Cabra. It is a, what is this thing? 255 70/15. And it's going to give us, oh, apparently that's heavy. That's going to give us about the same height as that big 31 that was on it. So it still gives us kind of that tucked look in the truck, essentially. Gonna throw in some cheap valve stems. I'm actually gonna throw in balance beads so we don't have weights hanging off of the outside of here. You've seen me mount tires 52,000 times. Just let me get it done. But I am gonna show you a trick really fast. on how to get the blue protective coating off of your white letter tire in seconds. Super easy. So since I'm the only employee here at this taco margarita shop, I have to schedule, plan, organize, and order all of my parts months in advance for everything to fall into place. So these have been sitting outside. It's raining right now, as you can hear, for months. It's been sun-baked out here, and we've all been in this position where how do you get this stuff off? I mean, people are using wire wheels and flat discs and all sorts of stuff, and I wanted to show you an easy way. And I've tried a lot of things over the years, and I found a easy secret. So even if you use brake clean, for example, you can scrub for a long time, and you're eventually going to get results. But watch this. Simple hot water. This is designed to come off with just hot water. It literally melts. It just comes right off. How easy is that? So let me clean up these other two, and then we'll get them mounted. Well, I got the tires and wheels mounted up. You stand back there so you get the look. Okay? Oh, the door's bent. Never mind, door's fixed. Okay. Yep. And apparently my brain was working the day I ordered these, because I even got black lug nuts. New lug nuts. Over budget! Can't believe it. But you can't have rusty old bulge nuts on these fancy $17 wheels. Come on now. Whoops, I got one too many over here. Put that in the front pocket. Front pocket find. Okay. Well, what do you think? Yep. Big improvement. Of course, we're not really going to see the full effect until we get her down. So let me get the others on, let this thing drop, settle in, and then we'll take a nice close look here. This one's got wires hanging out of her. Whoa. Okay. Retire that one. Retire it. See what I did there? Oh, where'd my cheek poker go? Cheek poker. There it is. Yep. Hit her with some paint prep. There we go. The old 72 408 fingernail polish remover. Uh-oh, that's not dry yet. Okay, well, just throw her right on over top. New brake shoes, brand new drum. Oh, axle bearing, axle seal. Whew, that makes me feel better. There we go. Patch the frame over here really quick. Oh, bump stop, brand new one of them. There we go. Just a reminder, bicyclegarage.com. You guys can get your own. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Whilst this is, that is drying. Tool down. Oh, thank goodness. All right, here we go. Hips. Nice. Okay. Oh, we got it. I think these are just a tickle wider. They are. We might have to roll the lip rollage. that or the box might just move over on its own. There's really nothing holding it on except a stop sign and the bottom of a cooler from 1968. So who knows? Hard to say. It also does this. So, you know. But we got wide letter tires, so it fixes everything. Where's my wrist ruiner? Oh, it's over here. It's the only night we haven't had a nader in a month and a half. Might fire up the old barbecue grill. Ooh. I might pry on them. Right? Meow. I got a C10 wheel arch tool right here. See? Flare. Flare edge. Flare the lip. Lip flare. I don't know, that doesn't really seem to be actually working. Maybe I gotta go to like a early 70s model flare tool. Might just go. One more and then we'll bring her down. Oh. Well, like I couldn't wait any longer. I had to roll this truck outside and it looks incredible. I gotta be honest, I didn't think that the stance or the ride height would change that much, but boy, was I wrong. It is undeniably lower, and with the new tire and wheel size, it has this really good, just mean stance to it. The wheels are tucked better, and it's level. It's not all kitty wampus and this and that, because, well, the coils aren't torched and things aren't rotted in half. And they're safe. Yeah, I said the S word. Okay? I know it seems weird putting suspension parts on this old rusty truck, but it's been around with us since the beginning, and my youngest son loves this truck, and I know he's going to want to drive it. And now we've got great suspension parts in it. It stops great. It's got the Holly in it. There is a few things that I want to do to it and need to do to it to get it back on the road, however, but that's unfortunately going to have to wait. I want to spend a little bit of time with the family. Then, of course, I've got one of those aluminum beer cans I got to jump on in the morning. We're out of town once again. Thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate you so much. If you haven't subscribed, what are you even doing right now? It's free, it's easy, there's no obligation. You just hit the button. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.